Hey Gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Corey.
I'm Holly.
And not way back there is Tucker. We are actually on our way to go pick him up in this 2023, though nothing has changed for 2024 except a $50 price increase, Honda Pilot Trailsport, the off-road one, the largest, most powerful SUV Honda has ever produced. In this video, we're going to tell you what it's like for our family of three. Stay tuned. All right, Holly. We haven't had many Hondas on this channel, but we have had two vehicles that share a platform with this that you have gotten to drive. The Passport, which we drove back from Padre last summer. I guess that would technically be 2 summers ago. And the Ridgeline, which we had earlier that same year, the truck based off of this platform. This is a new updated version of the Pilot, and it is the off-road version. I would say it's as off-roady as your Jeep Cherokee, maybe less a few true hardcore off-road features. But what are your thoughts of this big, rugged, 3-row family SUV crossover?
Any other descriptive words you want to add into that?
I mean, I try and keep
so
crossover.
This is an off-roader?
Yes.
I probably wouldn't take it off-roading. Sorry.
I try and keep SUV and crossover different because this is
okay, so
unibody.
Tell me, what is the difference?
Again, I generally like to use SUV for a truck-based platform. That would be your Suburbans, Tahoes, Expeditions, things like that. Sure. Whereas crossover is more car-based in that the body structure is part of the strength and skeleton of this vehicle. So much like the Dodge Journey in front of us, much like any car made nowadays, this is unibody. Anyway, yes, sure. This is the off-roady version.
All right. Were we talking about the styling on the outside?
We'll start outside.
It's big.
We'll work our way in.
I like this color that we have.
Of course you do. It's about the same color as our Jeep. It's about the same color as the other vehicle we're testing this week. It's a very popular hue as of late.
What color is it?
Let me actually look up the official name.
Can I try to guess it?
Sure. I won't stop you on that because it will take me a while.
Cobalt blue.
Cobalt blue. Nope. Diffused sky.
Diffused. I was going to go with the sky one next. You just did it too fast.
Would you have gotten diffused?
Not diffused. I don't even know what that means. But sky sometimes makes me think of like pastels, and it's not pastel. It's dark. But anyways, I do like the styling of it, and it is an attractive car, but I'm kind of like contradicting myself on other vehicles because there aren't really a lot of curves, and I do typically like a lot of curves. There's more on the sides
and the rump
than here on the front, but it is a very nice car.
Yeah,
for sure.
Much more rounded than 2 generations ago. My parents have a 2012 Pilot that is a box.
Yeah, I definitely like the upgrade of the styling over the previous models.
Yeah, so this is a good blend of Gens 2 and 3. Mom and Dad's is a Gen 2, a box. Gen 3 was very round. This is a combination of the two of those. Yeah,
and you probably haven't noticed, but I've asked you about 1 billion times what this car is when we're talking about it, but that is the reason, because when you say a Honda Pilot, I picture your parents. That is the refrigerator box, and this one is a lot prettier than that.
Yes. Very rugged look outside, very specific wheels and tires on this one, very off-road capable all-terrain tires, extra inch of ground clearance, and some modifications for off-roading outside. Any other thoughts before moving inside?
Well, my question always is, who's buying this and taking it off-road?
I do feel like this gives off a perception of rugged off-roadiness. I did take this one off-road in my solo review, though it was very uneventful for what consumers buying this are going to need. It's mostly going to a secluded cabin in the woods or a campsite somewhere. This is more than capable of doing any and all of that. In fact, a mutual friend of ours, Mercedes Lilienthal, actually piloted one of these in the Rebelle Rally.
Wow.
The only modifications were the wheels and tires.
Wow.
Otherwise, bone stock. So this is a very
Really
capable.
hard to take this big of a vehicle on the Rebel Rally. Seems like it. But I will say that makes a lot more sense because, like, everything is very washable, and then you've got the weather resistant floors and stuff like that. So it would be easy to clean up after going to a camping trip or something like that. And we like to do that kind of stuff. But then it's also like feels very luxury in here too. So it wouldn't feel weird being your daily driver either.
Yep. And as we segue into the inside, you're talking about its kind of duality of purpose. The false load floor back in the rear cargo compartment is two-sided. So one side you've got carpet for driving around. You don't want stuff rattling on it. It's your typical rear cargo floor. You can flip it over and it's hard plastic and you can wash it off very easy. So if you've got muddy boots, you can throw them back there.
I love that.
You've got that deep well underneath that can hold 2 of my backpacks.
I love that.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yep. So good transition to the inside here. I guess before we get too far into it, yes, Tucker is not with us. We are on the way to get him. He would normally be way back there in the 3rd row because he prefers riding back there, which we'll go ahead and install his child safety seat. We'll note we do have captain's chairs here in the Trailsport model. You can opt for a bench on certain trims. You just have to pay attention to that when you're ordering it. Has a lot to do with the gross vehicle weight rating and all that fun stuff. But because we have a center pass-through, it's like this hard plastic right here. So you can climb over it to get to the back seat if you've got child seats in both of these 2nd row seats, because you can see they aren't child seat friendly for moving to the 3rd row. We'll talk more about the 3rd row here in a minute, but we do have armrests back here, which is nice. The lower latch points are exposed, so they will be easy to get to. And you can see just how much this seat slides forward and backward. But now let's go ahead and bring in Tucker's child safety seat. This is a Graco Extend-A-Fit car seat. It is the same one we used when he was rearward facing. And as you can see, I'm gonna have to move the passenger seat forward just a smidge to really get that into place, even with the back seat or 2nd row all the way back. So we'll go ahead and move it forward to give this seat just enough room to settle down into place. And we'll see just how much that hurts. Oh yeah, still plenty of room up here. So no complaints for front seat comfort. You do have to move the seat forward, but it doesn't completely hamper you on front seat space. So good all the way around for a rear facing car seat. Now let's go ahead, turn this thing around and install it here in the 2nd row. I'm gonna go ahead, put the headrest up, drop that down below. Again, the lower latch points are exposed, so they are very easy to see and to access, which is a big win. And then I want to go ahead and recline this seat to match the recline of Tucker's child safety seat. Go ahead, snug this down, which is done very easily here from the side. And because they are sliding seats, you can move them forward. I wish like we could go a little bit further forward because I'm kind of having to go a little bit blind on the backside here, putting this top tether in. But it can be done. I will note that the tops of the seat back up here are soft all the way around. So as you really snug this top tether into place, you will be crimping the seat material. There is a possibility of long-term seat material damage here if you just leave a child seat in place all the time. But as you can see now, especially with the front seat where I was in rearward facing, Tucker's got plenty of room back here. Some nice amenities. We've got map pocket, a cell phone pocket here that is felt lined, so that is very much a cell phone pocket. I do like how there are rear sunshades back here, cup holders in the door, but a slight oversight. Air vents are on the back of the center console. I really wish we had ceiling mounted air vents. Just a small inconvenience. Overall installation here in the 2nd row works very well. I give it an A. I just don't like that now that this car seat's in place, I either have to go around or go to the other side to get in the back. Before we put that child seat in the third row, I did want to show you what it's like for adults to get back here. We do have some steps, which is nice. More all-weather floor mats, which are nice. We get some cup holders back here, air vents in the side, USB-A power points, and a place for that rear shade. Windows back here are a little on the small side, which is a small complaint. You can see the seat is back in its furthermost position right here. I'm going to go ahead, slide behind at 5'10". Plenty comfortable back here, so no complaints. And then I can get out with that button right there, or I have this tether right here I can pull to get out. Seats back here are 60-40 split bench, 3-person rear seat, though this 3rd-person seat is awfully narrow, like incredibly narrow. You can see the 3rd seat belt does come from the ceiling there for when you have this seat folded down flat. We also only get lower tether points on the passenger side, not all the way across, even though the back of the seats has top tethers all the way across. Bringing his car seat back to the 3rd row is a listening acrobatics. We'll go ahead, woo, throw the top tether underneath the headrest here. Since these pivot forward, they don't lift up, but there is plenty of room to get that back without much problem. You can see the seat back right now is pretty much reclined to match this 3rd row seat, but there is a strap that you can pull to recline these just a little bit. Unlike the seats in the 2nd row, these 3rd row seats, the lower latch points are buried in between the seat back and the seat bottom. So getting to them is a little more difficult. Again, they're only here on the passenger side of the vehicle, but you can get in, snug that up very nicely. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of work before he actually rides back here, making sure we are completely snugged up, but you can see the installation is fairly easy back here, not the best, and only here on the passenger side. Now let's look at what that does to cargo space back in the back. We do have a power lift gate with the button right under the L, very easy to get into, and a decent amount of cargo space back here. Enough for, well, an Indoraptor, that's for sure. But let's get Tucker's toys out of the way, and we'll go ahead and show you top tether installation here on the 3rd row. Very shallow cargo area, so very easy to get back to. We'll say, unlike the 2nd row captain's chairs, this is nice and firm, so you aren't going to be damaging the seat material tightening this up back here. So if that is something you are worried about, this will definitely be the better place to install a child safety seat. Luckily for us, this is where Tucker prefers to ride when we get a 3-row vehicle. Otherwise, it is a very nice snug fit. I'll make sure and snug that down when I've got 2 hands, but you can see decent amount of cargo space back here. We have a carpeted rear cargo cover that does lift up to expose even more space down here. This is where you get to the spare tire. It drops down, but you can see here, we've got hard plastic on the back of this. So we can actually take this tray out and flip it around and install it. Now we have a hard plastic, easy to clean cargo tray back here. So if you've got a lot of muddy items, I really like that. That really works. Definitely thought of everything here in the Honda Pilot Trailsport, which you're probably gonna have muddy things in the Trailsport version, but there you have the carpeted, so that mitigates rattles and such as that. Again, we have top tethers all the way across, but only lower latches for the 40% over here. The seats do fold down very easily from back here and do open up a nice bit of cargo space. They do fold very quickly and easily, all from that strap right there. And I really like how Honda has incorporated the seatbelt hooks for the 3rd row. Oddly enough, they don't do the same for the 2nd row. So if we had put Tucker's child safety seat in there, that seatbelt is still gonna potentially rattle around, but we don't have to worry about it too much. Just like if nobody was sitting there, pulling the seat back up is just as easy as grabbing that. And you can lift that if you want to, though having them folded will definitely help with rearward visibility. And then our hatch close button is right there. I'll go ahead and show you. I'm 5'10", plenty of room underneath the button, and we can push it and close this vehicle down. So yeah, Tucker's car seat's way back there. We will attempt to get some thoughts from him after we pick him up if there's still daylight to do so. But what are your thoughts moving to the inside of this vehicle?
Well, what did I say as soon as I got in? Ooh, I like this one.
Yeah.
What is it?
It is not my parents' Honda Pilot.
It is not your parents' Honda Pilot. But I do really like the design on the inside of it. It feels very nice and clean, luxury. But also, like you said, like a little ruggedness to it. You've got the style design on the back where it says the Trailsport and stuff that I really like, that makes it feel like...
Gives it a nice touch.
Gives it a nice touch.
Yep. And then, like...
Makes it feel like a recreational vehicle.
Yes. We've even got some orange stitching here in front of us across the entire dash. Orange stitching on the steering wheel. I've got a little bit of storage up here with a rubber mat, so it's not gonna roll around and make a lot of noise.
Yeah, the center console is huge.
Humongous. Yes.
It's got a little makeup lip.
Yes. Got some flat storage here, Qi wireless charging, a couple cup holders, a very damped glove box that doesn't want to open. Storage for days in the doors.
Oh yeah.
Like
all different kinds, 2 levels of storage here.
Yes. With cup holders.
Also, we've talked about how easy the buttons are.
Yep.
Well, maybe we want to talk about the ride.
Yeah.
Quick, before we talk about the buttons.
As we get ready to turn on the historic brick streets of downtown Tyler, Texas, now would be a good time to reiterate, this one being the Trailsport does have an off-road tuned suspension with an extra inch of ground clearance, which is supposed to soak up the bumps more off-road, make it more comfortable when there is no paved surface underneath you, which as we get onto our typical wobbly head test for Tucker, the historic brick streets, we'll see where that pays dividends or where we may have sacrificed some things, and we'll get your input here on the ride and handling. Okay. So as we transition, asphalt, brick streets.
Oh, couldn't tell.
This is normally where I would say, Tucker, how's your wobbly head? But since he is not with us, I will note the only noise in here really is his car seat, his empty car seat. Otherwise, it's very quiet in here. What are your thoughts?
Yeah.
That's the biggest bump, by the way.
That's the biggest bump, yeah. It's pretty smooth.
Yep.
It's a lot smoother than I was expecting.
But you did drop a little hint to me while we were still in our neighborhood about how this felt. Care to...
Driving. Well, that wasn't the bump.
Okay.
Well,
elaborate.
My first driving impressions
was
that it's loosey-goosey.
Elaborate, please.
I think when I say that I'm talking about the steering wheel.
Okay.
Is a little kind of like, I'm not moving it, but it's like, you know, back and forth. It's a little loosey-goosey. You definitely, well, and with this vehicle being so big, you kind of expect the turning to be a little bit heavier, and it's not as loosey-goosey.
Yeah. So I noted the same thing. It's not like fingertip, hold it, barely turn the wheel, scared to touch it, loose steering, but it's definitely not heavy like you would expect a big 3-row vehicle like this to be. With it, keeping in mind, this fits in our 1963 built 2 single bay door garage. So it does still fit in a modern garage, or not so modern garage as the case may be. But yeah, steering's a little...
It does, loose. But it does feel like driving a big...
Yeah, what's the ride like to you just in normal situations? I want to see if you have the same thoughts I did.
Well, the ride is fine, but I found myself when I move, when I switch lanes or turn, the back end is coming in slow. I don't know. Like, I've got a lot back there.
I thought you were going to use another word in floaty.
Floaty.
Does it feel a little floaty boaty to you?
Yes. Yeah, it feels a little. Maybe that's also what I meant by loosey-goosey.
That's where
floaty boaty.
Floaty boaty, loosey-goosey. Okay. Very apt description.
It's not hard to drive, but it is a big car. You're driving a lot of metal down the road.
But how does the power feel in relation to its size? Does
It feels mostly good, but it is kind of loud.
Yeah.
When you're first getting up and going.
Naturally aspirated V6, no turbochargers, no 4 cylinders, no complex powertrain system, just naturally aspirated V6, 10-speed automatic. Have you felt it shift once?
No.
Yeah, very smooth transmission, though we've got the push buttons. Thoughts on this?
I mean, that doesn't bother me. I know that's probably more of a gearhead thing that you're like, I will say, like, the buttons don't bother me, but when you have a nice shifter, it's nice.
Our accountant purposefully steered away from this vehicle because of the buttons. So it is a thing, not just a gearhead thing.
Right, so, I know.
Let us know
and
your
that's
thoughts.
That's kind of a safety concern for people who don't know how to use them.
Yeah. We've talked about power. We've talked about ride. I haven't asked you what you think of the steering wheel yet.
Well, I like it.
Okay.
I like it, how it feels.
Okay.
Soft. And I like the stitching.
It's got a little bit of a squish to it.
But it's big.
Yeah.
But that's not a bad thing because I can see my dashboard without,
I'm surprised you haven't even brought up. There is a real analog gauge back there. It is just the speed limit, the speedometer.
I just assume it's not.
Yeah, they do.
This is not.
Correct.
This is.
There's a 7-inch screen on the left side and an analog speedometer on the right side, but they do a good job, especially in low light. It all looks like a screen, and the way it lights up and comes to life, you'd have to stare at it a little bit to know, but yeah.
I see it. And speaking of all of this stuff, there's no head-up display. Before we were interrupted by the brick streets, wobbly heads, I was talking about the buttons and the easy to find locations of the buttons. So you have the heating steering wheel right here on the steering wheel where someone would look for that. So I love that. And then you have your heated seat like right here. You got your dual climate zones.
3 zone.
3 zones?
We've got a 3rd zone climate for back in the back, so that is a nice touch as well.
Wow. Though, and there is a lot of storage back there, but it is a little weird that there's like no console in the middle.
Yeah, it's just a flat spot in between the seats. You can option a bench seat back there, but the payload ratings dictate whether or not you can get a bench seat back there. So here in the Trailsport model, it is 2 to 3 seating. Though I would not put a 3rd person in the back. It is like that narrow in between seatbelts. So
I could see the benefit of not having one right there. You could put like your ice chest there or equipment there. But then for like everyday use, I feel like
have a console or something.
Kind of a waste of space.
Yeah, I can see that. Quick scene change. We've got Tucker with us. Tucker, you way back there?
Yeah.
Yeah? What are your thoughts on this big 3-row SUV? We're on a bumpy road. We could do your wobbly head test here.
Yeah.
How's your wobbly head back there?
Not wobbly.
Not wobbly? It rides pretty good?
Yeah.
Yeah? And why are you all the way back there?
Because there's 3 rows.
And you like 3 rows, don't you?
Yes.
How easy is it getting back there?
Really easy.
Yeah? How'd you get back there? There are chairs in the way.
There's a button that folds the seat down.
Yeah, you're right. And it just moves it up out of the way, right?
Right.
And then you can just climb right up there like nobody's business, right?
Right.
What about getting out? How do you get back out? You don't see that same button.
There's the same button is on the back of the seat so I can touch it. Or there's another way for me to get out.
Yeah.
Which is a giant platform that I can go onto the middle wall.
Yep.
Wow.
So they thought of everything in this one, didn't they?
Yes.
Yeah, and you've got your own air vent back there.
Yeah.
You can stay nice and comfortable.
Yeah.
Big windows so you can see out and around.
Yep.
Yeah, so you like this one pretty good?
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that this is a new version of what Grammy and Do drive?
Yes.
Yeah. So You could see us buying this, huh? And you'd like it just fine?
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing your thoughts. Do you have any other things you want to say?
No.
No? Okay.
Do you want to tell them like and subscribe?
No.
No.
Any other thoughts, things we haven't covered yet? Visibility?
It's all right.
Yeah.
Out the back feels a little bit small.
Does not help that, especially with Tucker's child seat back there. We've got both headrests up and stuff like that. We do have built-in sunshades on the side windows, which is really nice. The back doors have 2-tier storage in them as well, so that is a nice touch. A lot going on really good in this, so to speak. But yeah, care to, we'll go ahead and talk fuel economy at first, I guess. Window sticker is rated at 18 city, 23 highway, 20 combined, which is a little lackluster. It's better than the Toyota 4Runner I'm looking at right now, but it is on par with the Nissan Frontier that we recently tested in the fact that both of them have old school naturally aspirated V6s. I like the simplicity of it, but yeah, that's a little...
to make that a drinking game?
A little on the low side. We are averaging 13.3 right now, so take that what you will. That does include some off-road testing I did earlier today, but yeah, that's where we are in this one. Care to guess the price tag on this? I will say there are 2 trims above this that are more luxurious. This is just the off-road trim one.
I mean, I would say, as far as this one's concerned, I wouldn't say it's not luxurious.
Yeah, just missing head-up display, stuff like that. So.
Okay, I've been going high.
You have been running high lately. You were on a hot streak, and then all of a sudden you started
running high.
Yeah, so
I'm gonna say 54.
Still a little high, but you're much closer than you've been lately.
48?
Nope.
In 50s.
50,150 for this 2023 model. I do believe the price increase is only $50 thereabouts. So 50,200 for a comfortable 3-row vehicle. In my solo video, I do sit back in the 3rd row, and as long as you're only putting 2 people back there, you should be fine.
Yeah.
Pretty comfortable all the way around.
Yeah.
Thoughts now, knowing the price?
Same. I definitely think it's worth the value, though.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a bigger car.
Not much to elaborate on there. You've got wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, all that fun stuff. But if you want to know more from Holly, hear her thoughts, and see some stuff from her behind the scenes, go find her on Facebook and Instagram at Female Consumer. You can find all things GT Garage Talk at GT Garage Talk, Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, Threads, YouTube at GT Garage Talk, or you can go to gtgaragetalk.com. But as for us, in the Honda Pilot Trailsport, until next time, gearheads, bye. Is everybody ready? I'm ready. I'm not ready. I'm ready.
I'm ready. I'm not ready.
You ready?
I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I'm ready.
Look at you using the camera.
Look at me. I even look out the window. It's kind of loosey-goosey. I won't say anything.
Yeah.
I'm not going to
Say those thoughts.
Turn that off. Where's that? I always find that button real fast in every vehicle.
Say I can do mine.
Hold on, I'm coming back.